Hey guys, so in central Japan, we've just had 5 or 6 months of hot weather. And when I say hot weather, maximums between 35 and 40 and minimums between 27 and 30 at night, which means that pretty much for 5 or 6 months it was hot 24 hours a day. So particularly in the middle of summer, there's quite often we'd go for weeks without the temperature ever being under 30, even at night. So you go outside at night, it'd be 30 degrees, it'd be 80% humidity, the cicadas would be going meh. so just hot, you know, just really, really hot for about 6 months. And then last week, we had a little bit of rain, a little bit of wind, we've still got the wind now, and then it drops, and suddenly the maximums were 25, about 25, sometimes 26, sometimes 23, so around 25, and minimums at night of 15 and 16, right? So it's a real sudden drop, and it does it every year, which means in autumn we put the fans away, and we actually only have one little place that's big enough for these two fans and those two heaters, right? Separately. So in other words, I just went and got the two heaters here, and I'm going to clean all these things up, and then I'm going to put the two fans where the heaters were and put the heaters straight in the house. So in autumn, we take the fans out of the house and we put the heaters in, and in spring, we'll do the reverse. We'll take the heaters out of the house and put the fans in, and it's almost instantaneous. Every year my wife says, oh, you know, chotto hayai, you know, it's a little bit soon, a little bit early. So she will today. I'm going to put the heaters in the house. She's going to come home later and she's going to go a bit early for the heaters, but within a week, she'll turn them on, right? Because particularly in the morning, you know, daytime, like now, it's actually quite nice. It's about 23 at the moment, and it's actually quite pleasant. But yeah, in the morning, tomorrow morning it'll be about 15, and you know, within a week it'll be getting down to 14, 13, and down it goes from there. And then before you know it, in winter we'll have, in central Japan, lowlands of central Japan, oh, look out, you're going to blow over. You're right. The lowlands of central Japan in winter will have maximums of maybe 5 and minimums of -3, -4, something like that. So the point of this video is just how quickly it changes, you know. And it's funny because you go from hot, you know, and the cicadas are meh at night, you know, and it's hot and steamy, and then within a week it changes to being cool. The cicadas all disappear, you can hear they're all gone, all those noisy, the cicadas, and there's crickets and things as well, they're all gone, and then they're replaced now. Early in the morning we get the sounds of birds. Tried to show you that sound in previous videos because it's beautiful. We woke up this morning and the birds are outside singing and it's beautiful, you know. And then winter goes really quiet. Those of you who live in countries where you get snow, isn't it amazing how quiet it is in the middle of winter? Everything's sort of dormant, and of course if it snows, the snow absorbs sound, it goes dead quiet. So the change is really different. Japanese people talk all the time. They're quite proud of the fact that they have 4 seasons. They love talking about that. They often bring that one up, you know. And they'll say to me, in Australia, do you have 4 seasons? Because they're quite proud of the fact that they have 4 distinct seasons. And it is true. If you look at a photograph of Japan, usually you can tell what season it is, you know, because winter usually it's white and snowy, and spring it's, you know, usually all the flowers, and summer it's green, super green, and autumn, you know, the amazing autumn colours. So it is true, the 4 seasons are very distinct, and we're going to start to see that. We're starting to see it already. Leaves are falling off the trees, and you know, the leaves are turning yellow and orange and red and so on. So it is true that there is 4 distinct seasons, but not necessarily 4 distinct temperatures. You know, in particularly lowlands of central Japan here, it just goes from hot, and within a week it's cold, and then it goes from cold, and within a week it's hot. So it's a real sudden change. The other funny thing is that culturally, we have actually sort of talked about this briefly before, but the small talk thing, people love talking about the weather. Small talk, right? That's universal, isn't it? Practically every culture, every country, people love talking about the weather, don't they? It's sort of a harmless small talk that you can do. And the funny thing is that these guys will go from they've just had 5 or 6 months of atsui desu ne, atsui desu ne, it's hot, and then within a week, probably we'll start hearing it today, People were going, oh, Samui, Samui, Samui. And I mean, today's like 23, 24. It's beautiful, you know. Get out in the sun. It's actually pretty warm. But already I'm seeing people getting around in their jumpers and jackets, and you know, all the kids, the high school kids, start wearing their woolly jumpers and things like that, you know. And because it's not cold yet, and it's actually in the sun. It's pretty warm, you know. I'm sitting here in shorts and a t-shirt, but they'll be getting around in their woolen jumpers and things like that. They take that really seriously, and then that'll be it for the next 5 or 6 months, you know, until March. We'll be hearing how cold it is. So yeah, just a sudden change, just a really sudden change. The kerosene stoves, really essential here. We made a video about that in the past if you're interested in the kerosene stoves. Those videos actually get, this time of year, the video we made about how to use a Japanese kerosene stove gets a whole heap of views every year about now. Because it must be English-speaking people who aren't used to these things searching on YouTube and coming up with our video. And every year, that video, it might be called How to Use a Japanese Kerosene Stove or something like that. And every year it gets lots of views. So if you haven't seen that and you're interested, have a look at that. These things are absolutely essential in winter for us. We've got reverse cycle air conditioning in the house, but it's sort of not strong enough. It needs this. You know, when I first came here, I used to think I didn't want one of these things because of faffing around with kerosene, and you know, you've got all sorts of risks with oxygen starvation and, you know, fire and all sorts of things, and I didn't really want to get one of these. But in the big old farmhouse here, trying to warm it in the middle of winter with the reverse cycle aircon, it really struggles. So firing these up, we can only use them when we're awake, of course, because they have like a dead man timer on them. So every 2 hours it goes beep 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 beep, and you've got to push the button to keep it going. If you don't push the button, it shuts down. It's because of the oxygen starvation thing. They're worried that if people use them in a small room, that it'll suck all the oxygen out of the room and they'll die. It does actually happen sometimes. The old people in the middle of winter when it's really cold will shut themselves up in a really small room with one of these things, and this thing burns. You know, when you turn these things up, they really crank, and they just burn all the oxygen out of the room, and the people die of, what would that be, oxygen starvation or carbon monoxide poisoning or both, something like that. But it does happen, people die, so that's why they have these timers on them. Every 2 hours you have to push the button to keep it going. So, just dusting it off, there's, I've already explained all that in that other video, but there's, you put the kerosene in here, and there's a filter in there. I'll clean that filter, make sure it's clean, make sure it's the dust free, and then usually what I do is actually fire them up. For the first time, I'll fire them up outside, because it doesn't matter how much you clean it, there'll always be dust in there near the burner. And when you first fire it up, it goes poof, and a big cloud of smoke and dust comes out, and it stinks. So the first time you fire it up of the year, that's what happens. So if you do it inside, it's pretty horrible. So it's better, I fire it up outside, poof, it does poof, kicks out the smoky dust, and then after it's run for a little while, I'll take it inside and set it up. And when my wife comes home later, she'll look at it and go, oh, chotto hayai, a bit early for the heater. And I'll go, yes, okay, yes, maybe. And then within a week, I reckon, good chance tomorrow morning's going to be pretty cool. So good chance tomorrow morning she'll turn it on, and I just come out and see that it's turned on and smile quietly to myself, feeling satisfied that I did a good thing. So anyway, that's more than enough of that. Finished cleaning this one, I'll check the filters clean, and then I'll do the second one. I'll put the fans where these were, cover them up for the next 5 months, and take these inside. All good. More videos coming soon.